Hi, Nico. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. To start this movie, I went in being like, oh, I love Laura Linney. I love Nico Parker. I don't know anything else about this movie. I'm very excited. Then just sobbed. So it was like one of those experiences where I was like, I should have looked more, but also I'm glad I didn't.
It's so weird how much of a compliment I find it when someone tells me that they cry. Like it's really like dark and sinister. Then I'm like, oh, you cried. It's like very strange. But thank you. I'm glad.
I love it. Well, you have now a track record of playing characters that are just going to make people cry.
I think that's what I want to do for the rest of my career is just consistently make people cry. Maybe like some good ways, some bad ways, but just constantly crying.
You just
And then I'm
cry.
fine. Yeah.
Well, and this movie in particular though is such a both universal but specific kind of grief that is being explored. And for you, it's so beautiful kind of watching as Doris comes into her understanding of it. Because I think that's something we rarely see, especially if you know it. That
Yeah.
understanding portion doesn't really get highlighted as much. When you were mapping out all of those beats with Doris, what was the most interesting thing you found about finding this character who was both just trying to be a kid while also going through something that is so traumatic?
I think something that I really was kind of obsessed with and wanted to hone in a lot is that I think it's something that can be said for a lot of teenagers, but there's a selfishness that feels incredibly important in that moment. And I feel like there's so much of your problems and everything. And as much as there's like a bigger picture, you're so putting yourself first. And I felt that was such a theme with this character that I just constantly wanted it to make sense why she was being, a bad daughter or being inconsiderate or whatever. I just wanted that portion of grief and how much it takes a toll on you specifically and how you can just look towards yourself instead of at what's happening around you. And I just really wanted that to resonate with an audience so that she was as likable and as personable and as real
Mhm.
as she could be. So I think that was like the main theme that I was trying to just drive into.
And that's my favorite part of her, like of her character personally, because it's like I remember when my dad was dying, I was like, but I have Harry Styles ticket. Like my brain was not registering the two things. And that's
Yeah.
what makes this movie so like true to life for me is that she's kind of doing that where she's like, but it's I have now friends and
But I
prom.
want to get drunk with my friends, even though
Yeah.
my brother's dying. I just think it's that like the two can so I think it's so often that you see a portrayal of it where it's like when something really traumatizing and sad is happening, everything is gray and dark and stormy, when actually the two can really coexist.
Mhm.
And I love that also it was so brilliant because obviously this is somewhat based on Laura's own experiences. She was so like you're having so much fun right now. This is the best day of your life. You're having so much fun. I'm like, really? And she's like, yeah, this is amazing. Because she's lived that and was also having, amazing times with friends and everything, whilst also dealing with something that no one else around her was dealing with. So yeah, so I'm glad that you picked up on that.
Yeah, and it's the minute I saw that it was based like her, what I'm assuming is her brother's name, and then her as the director, I also was like, great, now I'm crying again. Because
I
it's
cried when I saw that in the script because it says it in loving memory. I was like, oh my God, this is so depressing. It's like immediately I also cried. So
so
yeah.
it got you too by the end. So
It
you
also got me too. Yeah, it did. It did.
and it's
Yeah.
so good because it's just kind of it is in a lot of ways a coming of age story for Doris because she is coming into her own. She's trying to understand who she is in this kind of, the last year of high school phase. But she also is going through something that no one in her friend group understands, even though they are all trying to, because they are like, cool, well, do you just want to go get fake IDs? And they have that kind
Yeah.
of disconnect. For you, though, getting to have those fun moments, how important was that to bringing Doris to life? Because, like you said, like without those, it does tend to be just like doom and gloom. Oh, we're so sad.
I weirdly found those moments, like any happier scenes, specifically less so with Woody, more so with the kids, because at least when it was scenes with Woody or Paul, there's like an underlying kind of tension because there's something that they're not speaking about, or if they are speaking about it, they're speaking about it. But with like the kids, I found those scenes the most difficult because it was like I knew how important it was to have there be light and levity to it. And so I knew how, as much as, some of the later scenes and crying scenes and whatever are incredibly essential to the plot and to the arc and everything, I was very much aware that without the fun, it's a really depressing film. And so I was like, these need to be fun. I need to be in a good mood. And so I found them really difficult to film. But they're all so talented and wonderful. And also that was also quite difficult. So I was like, you guys are actually having a really good time and I'm super stressed. But they're all so talented and everyone on the set was so brilliant. And it was just fun anyway. So I would just kind of try and bring in the fact that they were making me laugh constantly and just be like, and now Doris will be laughing because I am laughing. Yeah.
Well, I love it because I love seeing you with Woody Harrelson unlocked like an AU in my head because I'm like, well, her mom was with him in Solo, a movie I love. So this is so fun to kind of watch a separate universe. And like, but how was it clearly? Because like, I don't know if you knew Woody before, but because of that, but like, how was it getting to build that relationship? Because it is both so much fun, but also so sad because they are both two people who understand that grief kind of he's trying to navigate it for her and while she is going through it, but she is just looking for somebody who cares.
He is the best. Like he's so fun. And as soon as I met him before when my mum was working on Solo, but we didn't like it was very brief. And I was just kind of like I was a lot younger and was like, hi, you're really cool. And then that was it because I love Hunger Games. But when we met again for this, he is just so fun and he made me laugh so much. Like even in moments where it is not funny, he would make me laugh so much. And I think he like really enjoyed making me mess up too. So like if I ruined a take because I was laughing because of him, he would take like a real personal pride in that. But it was filming with him was just amazing and he's so talented and it really is. I would always say to Laura, like, what is happening? Because as soon as the camera's on him, there's just a light in his face that just arises and I just couldn't even he's so warm and real and you just like melt when he's acting. It was brilliant. I had the best time. And when it came to like the sadder things, I mean, he would kind of throw things in the one in the script and just kind of play around. And there's a scene in like a diner or something, and he was telling a story about his wife who in the film has passed away, and he's telling a story. And I don't know if it's the take that they used, but the first take that they filmed, they didn't tell me he was gonna say a story about her. So his reaction, then he starts crying, and I didn't know that was gonna happen. And I was like, I'm not. It was just like so moving. And I think that him kind of keeping me on my toes in that sense was really important because it was when I was listening to him, I genuinely was like, I have no idea what you're gonna say. So I actually need to be incredibly switched on for this scene. It was brilliant. He's amazing.
I love it. And I do like, I know her relationship with her mother is very complicated, but it is, I went to a school in North Carolina that Laura Linney's dad went to. So she came for my acting program and gave us like acting notes. And the entire
Nice.
time I was watching this movie, I was like, she's still like, it's the way she like switches things on are so
She's
dry.
like the way the set would suddenly like you'll be like Laura Linney's coming and everyone would just suddenly just like and not in a way isn't she so lovely to everyone. It's out of fear, but in a way of just like so much respect. So much respect. Everyone would just be like Woody was like, oh, Laura Linney's here. So like everyone was just like in awe of her constantly. She's so brilliant. She just couldn't turn in a bad performance if she tried. Like she's just incredible. We were all just kind of like, are you a real human being? Yeah.
No, she's not.
Yeah.
She's a robot
She's
angel.
not. I came to the conclusion when we finished filming is she's not. She's a cyborg and she was put on here for acting and nothing else.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect explanation of Laura Linney, is that she's a cyborg just here for acting.
She's yeah. And
Our
she's
last
also to be sure she is also an incredibly lovely person. and a
Yeah.
wonderful mum and just a general genius. So she's not just here for acting, but like that's also kind of annoying because it's like you can only have one thing and she has everything. Yeah, she's brilliant.
I love I love it. It's like she's great, but also maybe a cyborg. Um, to for a last question with this movie, part of me wants to be like everyone just going completely not knowing what it is and just go on this journey, kind of, like I did, and then sobbed very late at night in my home. But for you, what do you hope comes out of like what do you hope audiences take away when they see Suncoast and like go on this journey with Doris?
I just hope, weirdly, as much as there's towards the end it gets quite stressful, we could say. I really hope that leaves you with a kind of uplifting sense to life, because as much as horrible things can happen in horrible instances, and it's always a shock and a surprise, I think it's so like your life can so continue and go on, and there can still be incredibly beautiful moments and new beginnings. And I think it's so, what I love is that the film doesn't just, or I hope it doesn't just like drain you of all sense of hope at the end. Like I love the idea that it would kind of leave you with a sense of like it's going to be okay. um and I think if it can serve to someone who's maybe going through something, that there is, time heals all wounds. I know it's so cliche, but I think, yeah, just I hope that it can be within its darkness. There's the central light to it can shine brighter than that.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
Like, yeah, that's what I thought at the end too when I was crying.
When we were
So,
both crying in our respective viewings of
so I know I say that, and I was reading the script. I was like, I hate you, Laura. Yeah.
love it. Thank you for talking with me today. As we leave, I do have to say, I did a like while it was airing, did a podcast every episode of Last of Us, and the episode with Sarah, we all were just like, I don't know, man. It was the saddest thing I've ever seen.
I'm sorry, but also thank you. But
It
I'm
was
sorry.
like, I like it because it said we all
I
cried.
like it. But I am sorry. Yeah, that was a sad one. But I am actually alive, so it's okay. We didn't. She's still there in spirit.
We have that comfort after we've cried that Nico Parker is still killing it. But thank you so much for talking to me. I can't wait for people to get to see Suncoast.
Yay! Thank you.
Have a great one.
Bye.